Chapter 36, McSweeny.
Maybe I didn't hear right, but why else would Inspector Fox look directly at me? There's no one else she could know about that I would have a close connection with from Heathrow. Branwell, brings up Murray. Wasn't he that scrawny little dog that was with you when we came to pick you up? That's the one, says Inspector Fox for me. He was also marked as in his cell the last several nights and days, so we have no trust that anything the guards say will have any merit. But no one would have anything to gain from keeping hush about Branwell, I say, nervous about what this could possibly mean for the little guy. He doesn't come from a rich background like Raleigh, and wouldn't have those sort of underground connections. Maybe the guards at Heathrow really are incompetent, says Sly. I was able to sneak into it successfully and dress up as a guard to see you, remember? He gestures to me. And maybe Branwell escaped himself, suggests Bentley. I mean, he looked like kind of easy prey to me. Makes sense he would want to. Bentley turns to Inspector Fox. What was Branwell in for? Arson and consequentially attempted murder, I say, before she can answer for me. Apparently he lost himself for some reason one night and burned down a house trying to kill those inside. Whoa, that's dark, says Sly. Really dark. I haven't met this Branwell yet, but I'll be sure to stay on his good side. Well, that's the thing, Sly. He told me he felt abnormally enraged that day, like he was controlled into doing it. So someone else got to him to throw monoxide and light the match, asks Dimitri. Well, I didn't exactly say that. He told me he was kind of happy to see it burn. It was home to Ambira and Roger Silvio and one teenage kid named Clifton. Who are they, asks Murray. Well, Branwell told me this story and he wanted me to keep it secret, but I guess it would help us get to the bottom of this. Branwell's from London, I begin, and he was in university hoping to become a journalist. Had a decent living with his parents. He was out scoping for a scoop and looked into some kind of rumor in the city about the Silvio family. They apparently own a lot of shipment and trade companies, and there was a rumor about workers being underpaid and threatened to be blacklisted by every one of their connections if they decided to quit or speak up. So Branwell ended up going around with a list of companies correlated with RNA pack and ship traders. Most managers denied anything, but Branwell was able to get some workers to share email info, and he started realizing he maybe had a story that could truly help the world. Huh, he sounds sneaky, like me, brings up Sly. Yeah, well, maybe he shouldn't have been. His parents both worked for companies partially affiliated with the Silvios without him knowing it, and when Roger found out from a correlated company what Branwell was doing, he managed to get both his parents fired and blacklisted. That is not so groovy, pouts Dimitri. It goes on. Branwell told me the Silvios also got the London Tribune to print a smear article on the front page about him. I never read it, but he told me it was filled with manufactured stories about a shoplift he never did and a girlfriend he once threatened because she wanted to break up with him. He's never had a girlfriend in his life. Only close friends who were girls. Did Branwell find out it was the Silvios in charge of this, asked Bentley. I think it's a lot more Roger than Ambria or Clifton behind it all, but yes, Branwell had a suspicion and got an employee at the store who was looking out for him to check Roger's computer, and yep, Branwell could have reported that, says Inspector Fox. I can understand how angry that must have made him, but there's a proper way to make this better, and it most certainly isn't setting their house on fire. This Clifton barely made it out of there with his life. Well, the little guy was cellmated with me several months back. My suspicion being, as a punishment, the guards assuming that I'd beat him up. But I decided there was no point to that, and he seemed like a good kid, and well, I guess I was thinking a little about how I could never take care of Sly, and this seemed like a chance to do something about it. Whatever was in that email Branwell had intercepted, it really ticked him off. He was sentenced to 15 years behind bars. How are his parents doing, asks Murray. I don't know, but I doubt they're happy their son is in jail. And is now on the run, says Inspector Fox. No one says anything for a second. We should go after him, says Sly. What do you mean, Junior? I ask. Penelope and Raleigh are mixed up with something, and Raleigh and Branwell both were able to escape completely undetected from the same prison. If Branwell's mixed up in this, he might be able to lead us to the blimp. I grin. Then I notice Inspector Fox's badge again, and I can't help but bring something up. Ma'am? I gesture to her. Inspector Fox looks at me quizzically. I know Branwell really well at this point. There's definitely more to this. When we find him, can you promise to give him a chance to explain himself? She slowly nods, which isn't enthusiastic, but she never leaves my gaze.